Hi guys, I'm back and we are working again in Photoshop, it looks like, and we are going to be fixing shots that have a dull gray sky. And like I mentioned earlier in my last video, if you live in Michigan, you can be assured that you will have several of these shots if you're taking them in the winter time. So we are going to save the shot by darkening the midtones a little bit and adding a blue tint or a gradient to the sky. So step one, and I'm on page 193, we're in Scott Kelby's The Adobe Photoshop CC book for digital photographers. Great book, and I've used it for years. Love it. Alright, so step one. Here's a shot where the sky is really blah. Not 100%, but close enough, says Mr. Kelby. Clouds are a little dark, so even if we did go into Camera Raw and lowered the exposure, those darkish clouds would look like rain clouds. Then we'd have a whole different problem to deal with. An underexposed photo with the rocks in the shadows. So this technique will work pretty well for this image. You'll start by making a selection of the sky, and your first thought might be to use the magic wand. Now if the sky was just a flat sky with no clouds, that would probably work out okay, but in this case, a sky with clouds, you're much better off using the quick selection tool, according to Mr. Kelby, and I agree. It'll select the sky in all of 5 seconds. So we're going to get the quick selection tool, W, from the toolbox. Let's make sure we actually have the quick selection tool, which we do because we have both the magic wand and the quick selection. Our W is the quick key option. We're going to click it on the far left side of the sky, then we're going to drag it over to the right side, and bam, the sky will be selected. So let's click here. We're going to drag it over to the far right side. Holy moly, that happened quicker than I realized. Great. If it selects too much, you can just do an option click, as we did in our last little video, on an area that we want to remove. So if you're on a PC, it would be I just want to get rid of that little bit of water down there. Let's see how this looks. Actually, it all looks pretty darn good. This might not be an area that I want. All right. Now we are going to page 194, step 2. He says when he makes a selection like this, to make sure I didn't miss any little areas, I usually expand or grow the selection outward by a pixel or two. That way it kind of digs into to the rocks and a little and eliminates any of the little gaps. It would be a giveaway that we've done this. So to do this, we're going to go under the select menu, and we're going to go down to modify, and then we're going to go over to expand. And when the dialog box appears, if it's a high resolution image, which I'm sure this probably is, we're going to use 2 pixels. If it's a 6 or 8 megapixel image or smaller, just use 1 pixel. And then we're going to click OK. Probably won't see anything on screen, but well, actually that does come a little bit into the rocks, then I can see. Now to get a realistic color for the sky, in fact it went so far into the rocks, I think I'm going to undo that, or I'm going to go back and do just maybe 1 pixels. Yeah, so I'm going to go up to edit, and I'm going to do undo expand. I'm going to do that step again. We're going to go under select, we're going to go down to modify, we're going to go to expand, and I'm going to just try 1 pixel and see if I like that any better. Yeah, it's still getting some of the rocks. I think I'm going to undo that, and we're going to try to do the color for the sky without that. I can always back up and do that again if we need to. All right. Now, step 3, to get a realistic color for the sky, we're going to open another photo that already has a nice sky color. Most of these photos you can download, and which I already have. So once you open the image, and he's got an image that looks like Let's see, we're going to go up to File and do Open and see if I can find it. I'm going to assume that it's this Dull Sky 2. Open that, which it is. And we're going to switch to the eyedropper tool, which is I. You can see I have the little eyedropper. And we're going to click once on the brightest blue area in the image as I can find. And he's gone over here, looks like in this top right-hand corner. And you see that that's now your foreground color. Now we're going to press the letter X to swap the foreground and background. And then we're going to click the eyedropper on the darkest blue in the photo. All right. So I did that incorrectly. We're going to go back this way, and I am going to do the lightest color, which obviously is down here. And then I'm going to bring the background color forward. Oh, shoot. I'm going to click the X and bring the background color forward, and then I'm going to click on the darkest color. Then, and you saw the little color ring that happened when I chose that. That outside ring is a neutral gray, which just helps to make sure that you're seeing the right color without being influenced by surrounding colors. The bottom half of the inside ring shows the old color. And then the foreground color would change if you'd clicked on it right then. All right, so now step 4. We're going to go back to the original image. We're going to go to the Layers panel and add a new blank layer. So we want to go to the Layers panel, wherever this is. And we are going to add a new blank layer by clicking on the Create a New Layer icon at the bottom of the panel, which we've done. We're going to switch to the Gradient G tool, which it is the gradient. And then we're going to click and drag our gradient from the top of the photo down to the bottom of the sky. Move this out of the way. The light blue color should be at the bottom of the gradient, and this fills the new layer with a gradient made up of your foreground and background colors as seen here. Mine look awfully gray for some odd reason. Why is that? Wow. Now that just applied the same thing over again. But you can leave this gradient as is, or maybe just lower the layer opacity a little so to let it blend in. But if Kelby thinks it looks too fake, which is the reason why he has added these last 2 steps. So first you're going to press Command D to deselect. I just feel like I need to change those colors out a bit. What is up with that? So well, for one reason, I had the wrong gradient selected here. I think this is the gradient that we want. And then I'm going to click and drag this back here. Holy moly. Which is a more realistic rendition of that color that we were looking for, but it does look kind of fakey. So let's go through these steps and see what the next step is. See if I may go back and choose different colors, but we'll see what the deal is here. In fact, I think I'm going to come up to my history panel just to make sure that I didn't apply a gradient over that gray gradient that I had initially. I'm going to bring up my history panel. And I am going to click back here where I added the new layer. And then I am going to again do the gradient fill. So I make sure that I've got the appropriate gradient in my gradient slider, which I do. Then I'm just going to click and drag this again. All right. So we're going to have to take another step because he thinks it looks too fakey, and I always listen to Mr. Kelby. But at least we can see that we're in the ballpark, so to speak. So now on page 196, there are 2 layer blend modes that add contrast to our layer, soft light and overlay. So we're going to try both of these. Let me see if we want to deselect here first. All right, so step 5, I totally missed step 5, so I apologize for that. First, we're going to go to Command D. If you're on a PC, you're going to do Control D, and that's going to deselect that. And I can see that I probably should have, way back when I was worried about getting into the rocks, I probably should have left it there. So I'll be back in a moment. I'm going to change that out because I really don't like that at all. I'll be right back. Okay, as you can see, I went back and redid the selection and expanded it 2 pixels so that it set into the rocks a little bit more. Now we have deselected our selection. We're going to go to the Layers panel and we're going to change the Layers blend mode from normal to color. Just to see how the color itself looks. In this case, it still looks a little bit too cyan, and I really don't like what I've done here with the rocks, but again, I'll have to fix that in a moment. But at least we can see that we're in the ballpark. So there are 2 layer blend modes that add contrast to our layer. There's a soft light and overlay, so we're going to try both of those. When you try soft light, so we're going to go up here to color and we're going to try soft light. You can see its effect is more subtle, and then we're going to try overlay. Is more contrasty, and in this case that's what he'd go with because it looks darker but not all over the top. If you want a really dramatic sky, try color burn. Holy moly. And then lower the layer's opacity to around 50%. If you're not sure which one you want, just press Shift plus to toggle through the different blend modes until you find one that you like before you make a selection. All right, and yeah, I would definitely need to go in and edit some of these edges a little bit more, and he said that we could do a Shift plus. So let's do a Shift and the plus sign, and that should allow us to toggle through these. As you can see, that's not working on my Mac. It's maybe something to do with the way my system is, but you can also just toggle through by clicking and selecting these to determine which you think best suits what it is you're attempting to do with your sky. Okay, that's it for this exercise. Hopefully you come up with a good choice for your images. I like the process, and I'll definitely use it in some of my own shots. Great. I'll be back in just a moment to work with the dodge and burn tools. Thank you.